Welcome to this vlog. It's called a RobBLOG, even though it is a vlog. You may ask, Rob, why do you call your vlog a RobBLOG? Well, I call it that because it's my vlog and I can call it what I want to. It's not a bad day on the island today. We have a little bit of sunshine coming out, and you can see from the background here, green grass, green plants, woo, big green palm tree over here. See that? Look at that. And so that's it. Things are not too bad. And we're supposed to, fingers crossed, come Wednesday, midweek, about 5 or 6 days of sunshine coming up and temperatures, I think around 6, 7, 8 degrees, something like that. That's pretty good for Vancouver Island weather. Oh, I want to tell you this RobBLOG today is brought to you by the Island's Golden Classics on Swish, and also brought to you by Starlight Island Bright. Music for life. And you can find this station or this station at swish.ca, SWISSSH.ca, or you can go to various websites such as TuneIn and TuneU and radio.garden, and you can listen to Swish and Starlight there as well. I would appreciate it if you did. Isn't that what they always do in commercials? Thanks. Thank you. You make me happy. I don't know. I'm just fooling around. Well, today, ladies and gentlemen, a couple of things on the menu. First of all, if you know your history or maybe your art, or if you have ever been to the Louvre Museum in Paris, then at the top of one of the main staircases is this wonderful statue called Winged Victory. I call it Winged Victory, but Winged Victory. And it's this beautiful, huge statue which is headless. And as a matter of fact, armless, kind of like the Venus de Milo, which is in another part of the Louvre. So this statue stands at the top of this wonderful staircase. Go to the Louvre website. You can take a tour and see it yourself. No head, the poor girl. No arms, but she has her one leg thrust forward and the wings are out behind her. Well, on the weekend, I was at a thrift/antique shop, and I found a statue about that big. Can you see what I mean? About this big, of Winged Victory. And it was in a silver color, not a highly polished silver, but very shiny all the same. And I hemmed and hawed about it. I picked the statue up, put it back on the shelf, walked away, came back, picked it up, carried it with me through the whole store, and finally decided, you know what, I'm going to get it, because it was one of my favorite statues, and certainly seeing it in person at the Louvre, it has a little bit of history, for me at least. But here's the history behind that statue, Winged Victory. And look it up so you know what I'm talking about with the wings out the back, no arms, and headless. It's been in the Louvre since about 1886, I believe, at the top of the staircase. She's looking down on everyone coming up the staircase, which is really, when you think of it, quite hard to do when you have no head. Anyhow, it is a Greek statue, and it's about 2,500 years old. And apparently, when the Greeks won some important sea battle, they had this statue commissioned, and they had her do a stance like she was the prow of a boat. So that's why the one leg is forward. And this apparently was on the prow of a boat. Now, I don't know what happened in another battle. Maybe the Greeks weren't so lucky, and the ship sank. Anyhow, when they found this statue, there was no head, no arms. I'm sure out there in the ocean, the Mediterranean, the Aegean, I think probably there's going to be 2 arms and a head somewhere down amongst all those little critters at the bottom of the sea. But nonetheless, in person, it's quite magnificent. And this statue replica that I bought, I thought it's quite nice. I quite like it. And on the bottom, ladies and gentlemen, there had been some kind of bracket. Now, the bottom is square like this, but the bracket's kind of on an angle. And I thought to myself, maybe someone has had this statue bolted onto the front of a boat. I don't know. It's possible. It's definitely been on something. Now, the base, it's a lovely base as well, silver as well as the top of it. Again, about this high or so. And I have it on a display shelf next to an Eiffel Tower. I just love it. So do your history, look up Winged Victory. and see what you think. I call it winged victory. I'm sure it's just winged victory. So that's one thing that's happened over the last few days. I love looking in little thrift shops and antique shops. I don't always buy, but this past weekend I bought 2 items, winged victory, and the second thing was this wonderful little portrait about yay big of this young man, kind of a blonde-haired young man. Now, he'd be a young boy, I would think, he might be 10, 11, or 12, but it was such a striking portrait, and it was fairly old. I would guess it could very easily be the 1920s, maybe 30s, somewhere in around there. And again, in this store, I took it off the wall, I looked at it, and then I decided to put it back. So I put it back on the wall. I walked away into another part of the store, and it kept calling to me, just like winged victory. So I went back, and viewers, again, I reached up, I took it off the wall, and I thought, no, this has to come with me. So I'm really glad I did, because where I have it displayed at home is next to a couple of old pieces of my grandfather's. One is a clock, a mantle clock. One is actually a picture of my grandfather with some of the trophies that he won when he used to long distance race. And the other item is his cigar, I don't know, ashtray, I guess you would call it, but it stands up like this, has a little slot for the cigar to fit on, and then the ashes go inside this round tube. Anyhow, when I brought it home, it fit exactly with that. Now, although this picture, this lovely, and it's really framed nicely, is no relative, it just fits nicely right in that display of my grandfather's picture and a couple of artifacts from him. So I like to look. I don't always buy, but it just happened in 2 different places this weekend that I did buy 2 items. Okay, that's the first story I want to tell you. Don't forget to do your homework on winged victory at the Louvre in Paris. Now, while we were out and about this weekend, now I'm going to tell you, I don't want to say too much because privacy is important. We had friends visiting us on the weekend, and we went to have coffee at a coffee shop. So I was buying coffee for the husband and myself, and I says to the young lady, I'll have a large hot chocolate, please. And she says, the hot chocolate only comes in this size, which is a 16-ounce size, 16-ounce cup. She said, are you having it in or out? I said, no, we're going to have it here in the coffee shop. So it only comes in this size, not the 16-ounce size. I said, okay, fine, that's good. And I'll have a coffee, I said, with milk, and I'll have the 16-ounce size as well. And she says, coffee only comes in a 12-ounce mug. So very quickly, I didn't say anything, viewers. I said nada. I thought to myself, I can get a 16-ounce hot chocolate in a 16-ounce mug, but I can't get a 16-ounce coffee in a 16-ounce mug. I can only get a 12-ounce coffee in a 12-ounce coffee mug. Do you see my point, viewers? Do you get what I'm going for here? Why couldn't they put my coffee inside the 16-ounce mug that the hot chocolate was in? It was 4 ounces bigger, I realize that. But, I just thought, let sleeping dogs lie. And that's exactly what I did, viewers. Exactly what I did. I smiled. I told the gal I'll also have a chocolate chip cookie and one of those peanut butter squares, and I'll gladly have my hot chocolate and my coffee in the appropriate mugs. And that's what I did. I'm still perplexed to this very moment, but that's what I did. Anyhow, just a couple of things to chat at you today. There's not a lot on my list, but I did want to check in with you since it's been a few days. And I probably will check in later in the week when it gets nicer out. We've had a lot of rain and mist the last few weeks here on the island. Now, we did have a sunny day a few days ago, and it's been 10 degrees, 11, 12 degrees, so that's not too bad. But as you can see outside, it's kind of bright. It's just that there's not full sunshine, but it will come in the next few days and for about 6 or 7 days. I looked at the long range. It's going to cool down, and I do not want to tell you what's in the forecast for the island. Just an itty-bitty bit, but it's there somewhere around the 24th to the 26th, 26th, 27th, 28th, on several days. They have that white word in the forecast. I am not pleased. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. Today's RobBLOG brought to you by Starlight, Music for Life, beautiful music, and also by the Island's Golden Classics on Swish, all your favorite hits from the 50s, and even some up in a couple of recent years. Swish, the Island's Golden Classics, or Starlight, Music for Life. Give a listen, won't you? Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching today. And remember, subscribe down there, hit the like button. And I'm just so happy that you've tuned in to this little old RobBLOG, which is a vlog, but it's really a RobBLOG. And I want to remember, 2023, always keep your feet inside the line. Bye now. Take care of yourselves. Be good.